Mafia 3, a Playboy interview with Eldridge Cleaver, the leader of Black Panthers back in the day. This is full of all kinds of very, very relevant subject matter for our current time and place. So I think this would be a great one for everybody to dust off and take a little look at. But I just wanted to skip into here a little bit about what he was talking about, organizing guerrilla warfare when the government fails the black community. So Cleaver says, guerrilla warfare has traditionally been conceived and developed to deal with exactly this kind of situation. The presence of massive occupying forces on the one hand, and the existence, on the other hand, of sizable numbers of people who are not going to confront those forces full face, but will strike swiftly at times and places of their own choosing, i.e. guerrilla warfare. Works on guerrilla warfare widely circulated, and a lot of people understand that it doesn't take millions of people to undermine the stability of the American economic system in that way. That's what's at stake, the stability of the system. Of course, these will be tragedies. There will be tragedies if it comes to guerrilla warfare. This is what I'm talking about right now. This is like Kenosha right here. On the individual level, people will suffer. People will be killed. But on the mass level, more and more will be educated. As in, oh, that's a good thing, you know, to create this kind of violence in the streets, to educate people, to kill innocent people out there, you know, promoting one side or another of a political group. That creates an endless chain of suspicion. He goes on to talk about it becomes a totalitarian government because you can't control the people, and all the dissenters will be squashed immediately. And oh yeah, it's going in there about him striking in small cells all over the place, and that can't be controlled, and that it will spark overseas conflict with racial division as well, kind of like copycat countries doing their own little guerrilla warfare tactics based on what's been cracking up over here. People are kind of following the example being laid in the greatest country in the world. So he's talking about non-violent demonstrations, and listen to what Playboy is saying. I mean, they're totally playing devil's advocate to him right here. Do you think you have any real chance of winning that struggle? Playboy says, even without government repression, as long as the majority of white Americans who outnumber blacks 10 to 1 remain hostile or indifferent to blacks' aspirations, according to the indications of recent public opinion surveys, they deplore even non-violent demonstrations on behalf of civil rights. So he's saying that white people don't like you doing non-violent demonstrations on behalf of civil rights. So it goes back and forth between Playboy being like, do you think you even stand a chance? Like, have you even considered the possibility that you could be wrong about the chances of waging a successful guerrilla war? Do you run the risk that all your efforts towards the end, even if they don't escalate beyond rhetoric, could invite a massive wave of repression that would result in black bloodbath and turn the country's ghettos into concentration camps? Playboy asks. So this is a pretty intense conversation. If anybody wants to pause it and read a little bit of what's going on here, he's literally laying out the groundwork for guerrilla warfare in major cities that will gather more and more appeal, even from white people who feel the same way. And at the same hand, he's talking about how the government is controlling how black people think by putting them into larger areas where there's more power there. And he even leads on to that power will be the fear that altogether they will vote the same. It's all laid out here how they took over the black culture and gave them all this idea of voting the same, so you'll pretty much pay them to stay quiet and be content with the way things are going. It's very, very crazy conversation, and it goes on and on and on and on. So this game is amazing. It's got so many references back here, and just media, music, parlance, verbatim parlance, unfortunately, at times. But it's a real piece of history here. And with all the breasts and socialism, government totalitarian talk. I'm sure this is something they'll probably scrub from their records eventually. So please save your copy today if you have one, or get it for cheap and hold on to it. There's a lot of good information here. There's even an interview with Stanley Kubrick where he's talking about faster than light travel and colonizing the stars and potentials for alien races, and that guy had an IQ of 220. There's some really, really great stuff in here. And having the fun of the game is just going through and finding all these lovely playboys that are just chilling in the environment, and you find them in the middle of missions or back alleys, and just a great game. Just really puts the mature and the mature rating here. NC-17. 18 plus, not for kids. Some of the very juicy subject matter here is stuff that makes GTA 5 blush. And not only that, but they got the Vargas collection of tasty artworks and some very culturally diverse women here, which I like very, very, very much. Do not gift, do not re-gift. Purchase immediately. There's a lot of great downloadable content right now as well, but that was just a little taste of the craziness that this game has for you. Please check it out. But the whole concept of guerrilla warfare is exactly what we're seeing exercised today, and this whole street justice thing is really pushing us to a head. And they were talking about civil war in there too. Please check out that interview he had with Eldridge Carver. A great one right there.